questioned whether he's a fit as a head coach, considering his background with him as an OC. What do you see from Ben as far as what makes him an effective head coach?
I see a sense of leadership, and a confidence in him, honestly, that exudes into all of us. And I think that's, his best quality when it comes to that sense, or in a head coaching sense, is just, that confidence and that, demand of, excellence from everybody in the building and from himself. So, he holds everybody to that standard and holds himself to that standard on a consistent basis. So I think he's been doing a great job at it.
The catch you had along your own sideline in the first quarter, Caleb runs out. Walk through kind of what you saw there and Caleb's ability to get it there.
Yeah, it was a bit of a broken play. Look back at the quarterback, seen him scrambling, seen he was scrambling. So we just made a play on the DB that was defending me to try and get some open space in the direction that he was rolling out in. And, it was a kind of a piercing throw. He threw it on the money, right on the laser. So, I was able to, get it and reel it in on the sideline, get 2 feet in. And, we kind of went fast just because didn't know if I was completely in bounds. But, yeah.
What's unique about Caleb in those scramble situations?
He's just super talented with it. There's, not too many arm angles he can't throw from, body positions, whether he's rolling left, rolling right, whether he's, going backwards, going forwards. He always generates the power to be able to get the ball where it needs to be. So, you always have to be ready in those scenarios. But, I don't see anybody doing it like him.
Just on Ben's leadership, how have you seen that show maybe the last day or so coming off, obviously a tough, disappointing loss in the opener?
Yeah, I think it's been great, you always find out, who people really are when that adversity hits. And, he's remained consistent, in who he is, just letting us know that, what we put out there wasn't good enough. A few too many mistakes out there, and that's what kind of leads to the loss. But, where we're headed is a direction towards the Detroit Lions and focusing on that and, understanding what we did wrong and trying to get better for the future and focusing on the game plan this week.
Collectively as an offense, what's the process of getting all the false start issues shored up quickly?
I think it's just continued repetition, honestly, getting back to the work of it. That's something that, I think is just a repetition and just, being able to maintain focus throughout the entire duration of a game and throughout the duration of a play and everybody being on the same page. So that chemistry and different things, would hopeful to be settled by now, but obviously we had too many coming into this game. So, we'll get that corrected.
And this size you anticipated just because of how loud Ford Field is that you're going to probably have to use the silent cadence.
Mm-hmm.
How do 11 guys learn to count at the same time and to all be on their teeth?
Right. No, it's not easy. It's one of those things in football.
We'll find him.
Yeah, that's a fine. Yeah.
Definitely fine, for sure. Are you good, man? It's hard, that's one of those things in football that I guess from a fan perspective, you don't realize how, difficult it is that we all kind of have to silently, know when, to start to play. So we have different mechanics and of course within the linemen and all the quarterback and all the cadence and different things that they have going on, for receivers it's a little bit easier. We just look at the ball. So, but yeah, we'll get that sorted out because we know it's going to be a loud game with, Ben making his return. So we'll get it corrected.
From your games last year, what are your thoughts on the Detroit defense and how tough they are?
Yeah, they play, a hard brand of football, They are always running to the ball, are very physical. So, we're going to have to bring that same energy towards them. And that's throughout their offense as well. So, the more physical team, more often than not in this game is going to come out a winner. So, we're going to be on the right side of that. But, lots of talented players. I'm excited to go against Arnold, in my same class, seeing his improvement from last year and looking back on the film. So, I'm excited for the matchups, but it should be good one.
Last time you went there,
Got you, Nets fan.
the Thanksgiving game last year, what was that 24-hour period like for you, the end of the game and then firing Eberflus the next day?
Man, honestly, being in my rookie season, I really was just very locked in on my job and my responsibilities, if I'm being honest. So I was, went into that, getting all of my corrections for that game, which I had a few, and understanding what I needed to do better in that game and the plays that need to be made and all those different things. And then, with the coaching staff and all those different things, I was just, kind of, had the blinders on, focus on my goals. So it was, kind of obviously a shock to the organization and all those different things. But, when I had the mindset of just focusing on what I can control, it didn't really change much for me, honestly.
When you talk about increasing your focus as a receiver, you're working on that. This first game, what did you notice about that growth and the amount of defense that you got?
Yeah, I feel like I put it on display a good bit. You know, I feel like I definitely felt a little bit more comfortable out there, and think the film proved that as well. You know, I had a couple flashes of playmaking ability. I had that one on the sideline that I wasn't able to grab that I can come down with at the end of the day as well. So, you know, it was kind of a teetering of like, you know, a lot of that putting on display, and some things I could be better at. So, definitely feel, you know, from my first game last year to my first game this year, definitely a big improvement. But this is really just the baseline. We're looking to, you know, continue to do bigger and better things.
On the touchdown in the fourth quarter, what did you like about seeing that concept come to life?
Yeah, it was awesome. You know, we practiced it throughout the week. Was as a look that we're really confident in. You know, and Ben and the offensive staff had installed. So, was just trying to perfect it, and it was actually a rep that we the timing wasn't exactly how it needed to be in practice, and that was the only rep that we had got at it. So me and C Will got a couple reps after practice, just getting the timing right, because it was obviously a kind of a fake stock into a passing play. So just getting the timing right, and it worked out in the game. Was able to, you know, make it a one-score game.
What was your responsibility in the timing aspect of things as you ironed it out?
So it was obviously, you know, just kind of selling. Like I was going for the block and then just kind of shedding, and getting loose from the timing aspect. It was, you know, I don't know if we're getting down to like the milliseconds of it, but it was just being on a certain chemistry, certain aspects. So that way, when Caleb was done with his fake, I was open for him.
Rome, Ben said just earlier that everybody kind of had to get their hands dirty in the run game, including you, DJ. Everybody, you know, he saw you in the backfield. What's your evaluation of kind of how that's coming together and what you can do going forward to get it going a little bit more?
Yeah, I thought we did a pretty good a job in the receiver room, honestly, with our physicality in the run game. I thought we, you know, had covered our guys up and, you know, made an impact in that fashion for sure. But obviously, there's things to improve on as that as well, you know, in the run game as well, and we play a part in that. So, you know, I thought we did a good job, but it's going to be another test here with the Detroit Lions, you know, with that physicality and getting the run game going, especially on the perimeter. So excited for it.
Somebody mentioned Amon-Ra earlier. Have you picked Randall L's brain just about what Amon-Ra does well?
You know, I haven't got the chance to do that. I've studied Saints game a good bit though. You know, his physicality in this division. You know, he's a guy that you have complete and total respect for because he goes out there, he does the dirty work, you know, in the trenches, and then he goes and makes the tough catches over the middle, makes the deep plays, has the screens, all this. So his game encompasses a lot. So when you studying him, you know, it's all different facets of his game. So I have a kind of a relationship with Say as well. So I've asked him a few questions about that stuff. Haven't gone through L to get to him, but that's a good idea. I should ask him his perspective.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks, Rob.
And what was your diagnosis of kind of what flipped in that fourth quarter?
Just didn't play 4 quarters of good football. I think, you know, all phases, I think it's very easy to try to point to one person, one phase of the game, but at the end of the day, when you look at that fourth quarter, you know, none of us really played well. I mean, offense, defense, special teams, you know, we had a block punt, missed a field goal. Defense, we got gas on the run game, and obviously the quarterback was able to make some plays with his feet as well. So I just think we have to have a finisher mentality to win those type of ball games against really good opponents. And, you know, in this league, I'm a full believer in that. You don't win games, you lose them. And I think we made too many mistakes towards the end of that game, and we wasn't able to close it out.
Play in the first half. You guys allowed them to get a completion that got them in a field goal range. What's the mindset going into that play, knowing the whole situation at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I think DA's philosophy, and he'll tell you this, you know, he's not going to not be aggressive. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, we're playing really good defense throughout the game. He doesn't want to get in certain situations, just start playing soft defense. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, we had a man coverage deal, and, you know, he was able to, you know, receivers ready to run, was able to run away from our DB's leverage. And, you know, he made a play. But I just know his philosophy, and you guys know DA. He's gonna call the game the way he's been calling the game, regardless. Now, obviously, there are certain situations where he's gonna call different defenses, but for the most part, we're gonna be aggressive and challenge receivers. Let's continue to challenge them. Let's play our technique, play our game.
With Ben coming from Detroit, he's got a pretty good scouting report on their quarterback, a lot of their receivers. How do you take in that information, and in what ways could that help you?
You know, me personally, man, I just watched the film. Obviously, we're familiar with this team from last year, and even watching, you know, the Green Bay game and some of the games last year. They want to get the run game established, and I think that's something they're going to try to go out there and do. You know, obviously, Monday night we let a couple runs kind of gash us there. So I think with the 2 running backs that they do have, really good running backs, they're going to try to establish run early and then we know in Jared Goff, everything off that run game. Now you have the play action, you have all the over routes, and you have, you have start linebackers getting 8 boxes or 8 people in the box is able to get a lot of space on the back end with their, talented receivers. So if I'm looking at the game, that's kind of thinking they want to attack us, and I'm pretty sure Ben would say the same thing. But I watch a ton of film just on my own, and I kind of can get that conclusion from this team. They're still a really, really, really good team. I mean, regardless of how week one kind of started, we know how dangerous they can be for sure.
Kevin, on the pick six and the timing of that blitz, it seemed like DA really had a good pulse on things. How did you feel in that moment, like the way that he was calling the game to know that's the right moment to strike when you got a quarterback who's rattled back there?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, DA's an aggressive guy, and I love that mentality. I think looking at the timing of it, and just me personally, I think when I was looking at the game plan and kind of how it was going, the quarterback really wasn't doing a lot of checking at the line of scrimmage. And we knew on third down they would go in empty or send it back out wide and then bring it back to the backfield just to see who was in man or zone. So I think the disguises was really good, and we kind of knew that he was going to be in. I guess the history of Dennis Allen, when we were lining up everybody in the line of scrimmage, most teams try to throw screens and stuff like that, or just quick game. And I think it was just a great play by Nashawn to be able to kind of read the quarterback and just be able to sit on that route and catch a pick six. So it was a huge play in the game for sure.
When he jumped the out route there, I mean, it seems like it's a really hard play for a wide receiver to
Right.
make. Like, is that always going to be to the advantage of DB there?
I mean, I think throwing the speed out to the field when the ball's on that hash is going to be tough anyway. Like I said, I think Nashawn just made a great break and make a great play. And like I said, it was just a great timing of the blitz because there really wasn't a lot of other options for him in that scenario. They ran a speed out, then they ran a big 7 cut. I don't know if he could have just run all the way back, scramble back, and try to throw the ball up in the air, but it'd have been a tough play for the quarterback. So like I said, I think it was just a great timing blitz from DA, just a great call.
But when you go through the Lions versus Green Bay, what struck you about that video last Sunday of watching a Lions offense that had been so explosive not find it in their first game in a new coordinator?
Yeah, man, I think just their defense was flying around. Like I said, I think just watching the film, they wanted to get the run game going. They weren't very successful of it. Obviously, they hit a couple runs, but I think the disguises that they was doing out there in Green Bay as well was causing Jared Goff to obviously check the ball down a lot of times, and the tackling was good. Like you said, I mean, a couple guys missed some tackles, but if somebody missed a tackle, it was 3 or 4 other guys swarming to the ball. So I just think for us, it's a great film to watch to say, hey, we need to swarm like those guys and play the same defense we played the first 3 quarters of the game. We just had to finish strong, and I think we're going to this game very confident because obviously we're familiar with this team. We had some close games last year with this team, so we just got to go out there and finish the ball game.
So if you're watching a game, say like the Packer Browns game Sunday, how would you observe the game, let's say, differently than the casual fan, especially as a defender?
I mean, for one, I have, on our tablet, we kind of have the all 22 film, so we obviously can see everything going on versus, if you're just watching the TV copy of a game. Being in the league a little bit, I kind of know certain disguises and like they may be showing one type of coverage and they're going to another one, whether it's showing blitz and then playing cover 2 or whatever it may be, and just kind of seeing how that affects the quarterback and how he's reading those coverages. Yeah, so I'm just kind of watching it from, I guess, a chess match type of deal versus then just, I guess most fans were just watching, hey, Michael Parsons versus this guy. You know what I mean? Like I'm just kind of watching the whole game from not just the exact personnel, but actually like the X's and O's parts of the game.
Kevin, back to Monday, what did you see in the progression from J.J. McCarthy from those first 3 quarters to the fourth? The stats obviously show he was really good in the fourth.
Sure.
Were you sensing a quarterback that had a little bit, that was more comfortable or a little more decisive or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think he just did a great job of, I guess, keeping his composure, staying poised. Like I said, I think we had him a little rattled earlier in the game. And honestly, I mean, I think a lot of people would have been. I mean, if you think about that first drive we had, I mean, it's probably one of the loudest environments I've been in a regular season game. Like I couldn't even hear myself communicate. It was really loud. We was able to call some false starts and stuff like that. But I just think he did a good job of staying composed throughout the game. And obviously, KO, their head coach, called some really good plays. They stayed with the run game. And I think once the run game kind of got going for them, it kind of opened up some other things, as their offense. So I think he just did a good job of staying composed.
The personnel that the Lions have, like receivers, tight end, or engineers in the passing game, do you have to prioritize like who to stop first, or how do you game plan the offense like that?
No, I mean, I think you have to, I wouldn't say pick your spots, but you have to decide what do you want to stop first. And I think if you're thinking about their team and their offense, you want to stop the run game first. I think Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery is probably the best, if not one of the best backfields in the league. And kind of knowing how they want to attack offenses, they want to get the run game going so they can set up the play action passes, the boost. Everything starts with the run game. So I think if you stop that first, and then after that, you just got to win your one-on-ones. They have talent all over the field, like you said, with the tight ends, the receivers, and obviously Jared Goff is a Pro Bowl quarterback as well. So I think if we can stop the run game and be able to mix and disguise our coverages to get him to check the ball down like he was doing a lot in Green Bay game, I think that's a formula for success. And we have to do that and just fly around. I mean, play free, go make plays, get some turnovers, and try to duplicate what we did on Monday night. Just 4 quarters instead of 3.
Kevin, Deshaun's pick created a pretty good swell of momentum. I think you guys had 3 and outs the next 2 possessions. How do you describe just sort of that surge that you had for that entire third quarter, really?
It was incredible. I mean, we was having a lot of fun out there, honestly. I just think just for us as a team, us as a defense for sure, just making sure we're staying locked in the entire time. Not that we got out of focus or nothing like that, but just being able to finish. And really, when we get in teams in these situations, regardless if our offense is struggling, whatever, man, if we're up 17-6, we should be finishing the game. You know what I mean? Like we should go out there with the confidence and the belief that, that's enough. You know what I mean? Like no matter what happens with the offense, no matter where they put the ball at, block, field goal, whatever it may be, we should be able to get a stop. And I think that was kind of the biggest things in the game. We weren't great in those red zones. The last 2 red zone possessions, they was able to get touchdowns. And, I kind of look at that. It's like, that's the turning point for us on defense. If we can get those stops in the red zone, we're still up. You know what I mean? But we allowed those touchdowns.
What would it mean to get Jalen back?
It'll be big. Honestly, like you said, Jalen is one of the best, if not the best corner in the league, in my opinion. He's a shutdown corner. You can just put him on their top receiver, and you don't have to worry about it. So, and he's a leader in our defense as well. He brings a certain swagger, personality to our huddle and our defense and our team. So, obviously, we can get a guy like him back. It's huge for us.
Couple more, please. In situations like you just mentioned, the fourth quarter, is that a momentum thing or a mental thing for defense?
I think it's an execution thing. I don't think it's more of a momentum can be a real thing. Don't get me wrong, especially when the crowd's going. But at the end of the day, as a defense, we have to have the mentality. No matter where the ball is, no matter what's going on the other side of the ball, we go out there and defend every blade of grass. So I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's more just execution when we watch the film, whether if it's guys not being in the right gaps on defense in the run game or being able to keep our leverage on in the pass game and things like that. Then obviously you have some subjective stuff. You know what I mean? You have the penalties, the PIs, stuff like that. You can argue up and down, but at the end of the day, referees aren't perfect. They're gonna screw some stuff up. They're gonna get some calls right. It's just kind of how the game goes. So you just got to be able to fight through all that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.